Hello, children. Our story today comes from the continent of Africa, the country of Democratic Republic of Congo, which in the 1990s was called Zaire. It was a time when people struggled to provide for their families. Passers-by knocked on the metal gate of the missionaries' home to ask for something, anything to eat. Mothers baked bread, not for their families, but to sell and try to make some income. In the city of Lubumbashi, the Sabbath School Department of the Église Adventiste du Septième Jour de Lubumbashi 3 wanted to have a community project, and after exploring a few options, voted to share a meal with the 270 residents of a nearby prison and the 5 guards on mealtime duty. It made sense to serve the people the staple foods of many African countries: Bukari, haricot rouge, and sombe. Bukari is made of maize or corn that is ground to a fine flour called mili meal and boiled. Haricot rouge are our well-known kidney beans, and sombe, another staple all over Africa, is made of cassava or manioc leaves that have been boiled and pounded. I will take care of the mili meal or maize flour. We can distribute it among the few of us in the Sabbath School committee to cook, offered the Sabbath School superintendent. What about the beans and the sombe? We can ask the church members to contribute the beans and the sombe. That way, everyone can be involved. The prison was contacted, the date set, the mili meal purchased and distributed for cooking, and announcements made in the little church. The Sabbath morning of the set date dawned. The Sabbath School superintendent woke up and went to her pantry to search for containers to collect contributions from the church families. She came out with 3 white food-grade buckets used to store her dry goods. "I'll just run home to look for more containers if these get too full," she thought to herself, and off she went to the church. The buckets were lined up in the church foyer, and several Sabbath School members stood by to assist as families came by with maybe a small pot of beans and others perhaps a small bowl of sombe. They came willingly and cheerfully and shared what little they could. Immediately after the Sabbath school and church services were over, the superintendent rushed back to the foyer to check on the buckets. Would she need to run back home to find more containers? Would there be enough food to bring to the prison that afternoon? The ladies in the church foyer stood about anxiously as the superintendent approached. It didn't seem they didn't need more containers. There were nearly 2 buckets of beans, and the 3rd bucket was 3/4 full of sombe. Will that be enough to feed 275 and maybe more people? Shall we cancel? But we don't want to embarrass ourselves. We've already arranged with the prison. They are waiting for us, so we need to go. After a prayer, the food was loaded into vehicles along with the Sabbath School committee members and transported to the prison. Once cleared to enter the prison, the ladies set up the vats of Bukari and the 3 buckets of beans and sombe at the side of a field. It didn't take long for a line of hungry people holding their plates or bowls to appear. After another prayer for the food, the first person was served, and then the next, and then the next. The servers whispered to each other, "Don't put too much or we'll run out. Not too little either." All were afraid to look at the line stretching out in front of them, and all were praying, "Please, Lord, let there be enough." Continue to serve, one after the other. When the servers finally came to the bottom of their respective buckets, they dared to look up, and as they were scraping, they were astonished to find that they were serving the last of the food to the last persons in line. There was exactly enough. Had they just experienced a miracle? As soon as she reached home, the superintendent reached for the teacup that had been used to serve and one of the buckets and began filling it, cup by cup, with water. The bucket held 90 cups of water. Bukari, nearly 2 buckets of beans, and 3/4 of a bucket of sombe had fed 275 and possibly more people that day. How much of our contributions does God need to perform a miracle? How much faith do we need for our prayers to be answered? Does God still perform miracles today? You be the one to tell me.
Dear Jesus, thank you for your miracles. Thank you for providing us for every day. Amen.